Okay, I want to kick things off here with a quick update, as if I ever do anything quickly, and then I'm going to play a game. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a mid-season report here, much like I did with the quarter season one. So I want to take a look at what's happened so far and talk a little bit about what's happened so far with the Redemption League. This is a league that I've done using. It's a how do I say this? It's it's a league, I guess, with a dozen teams spanning a period of 25 years from 1970 to 1995 of 12 all-time very good, if not great, hockey teams. And so hopefully that's easily visible enough. I'm kind of technologically challenged, I guess. And so certain things like I don't know, being able to stream. I mean, I'm sure if I took a little time out, I could probably do something a little more proper, but for now, this is what you get. So, in the Makita Conference, the Vancouver Canucks, somewhat surprisingly to me, the Vancouver Canucks of 1992 are in first place in the division right now. And the only reason why I would say somewhat surprisingly is because they do share that division with the 1975 Buffalo Sabres, a team that I really sort of figured or pegged at the beginning of this to be a favorite, and because the season's only halfway done, they still have time to go on a run. Certainly, they are offensively quite capable. That 66 goals, I believe, is the second highest in what I call the Redemption League, if I didn't say that right off the top. Yeah, so anyway, so they're quite capable, at least goal scoring. They do have a better record on the road than at home, do the Sabres. The Canucks, they're quite even in both. And the Washington Capitals, I mean, I didn't favor them or anything like that, but I am a little surprised at how badly they have been doing. With that being said, their last several games have been, as I recall, either victories or very close losses, and then also that second tie there came to the 1983 Chicago Blackhawks. And again, every team in this is very good, if not great. I do have the all-time greats league with the League of Champions and Presidents, and so I decided that I wanted to make more of a contenders league. And that's really what this is. These are all-time contenders, teams that just sort of were in the shadow of some all-time great teams in the seasons in which they played. The Howie division, not as surprisingly, New York has managed, even though this is a really competitive division, and the Howie is for Howie Meeker. I'm going to explain some of this stuff as if maybe somebody who might be seeing this might just be seeing it for the first time and have absolutely no idea what this is. And I am going to play a game afterward. That's why I have the cards out, so... Anyway, the Henry division for Henry Richard, the Howie division for Howie Meeker, in case I didn't say that already. The Rangers, this has been a very tight division, and I mean, they still just have 2 points on Winnipeg, and Winnipeg actually with the game in hand there. So the Jets also very even at home and on the road. Somewhat surprisingly as well for New York, I mean, a little similar to Buffalo, but maybe even more outstanding. 6-1-1 on the road there, but 3-5-1 at home. 75 goals for the New York Rangers. When I get to the scoring race, you'll see how much their top flight guys really dominate that. 81 St. Louis, I mean, still far from out of it. And the way that I do it as well, if you can see over here, like DW3, WCCU, I hope I have this correct. I understand why they don't do this in real life, because it would be costly travel-wise and things like that. But because, again, I'm on the tabletop, I can take advantage of not having to worry about scheduling things in that regard. I don't have to worry about getting the arena time at the right time or anything like that. So I award playoff spots to the 4 division winners. I figure even if you are playing in a really weak division, if you win that division, you definitely deserve a playoff spot. And you should, for that matter, get one of the higher level seedings, I would argue. However, for the wild cards, they can come from any division. So it is possible in my format that an entire division could make the playoffs. Right now, the Howie Meeker division, all 3 of these teams are in playoff spots. So St. Louis, just because they're in 3rd in that division, they are not being punished for being in what's so far been a stronger, tighter division in this. Then we get to, and actually, so 2 conferences as well. So the Henri Richard division and the Howie Meeker division play in the Makita Conference, the Stan Makita Conference. And then the Dale Hawerchuk Conference has the Colby division, which is for Colby Cave. And in this division right now, actually, just the 1 team in the playoff spot, and they actually only emerged there recently. Boston's gone on a bit of a run here. And so they're now above 500, 8-7-1, 17 points. They do, Hartford does have a game in hand on them as well, and Hartford and Boston is what I'm going to play here once I quit gabbing about this. But Boston, there you 8-7 and 117, a little better at home than on the road, and actually their differential is a -3. The Hartford Whalers, on the other hand, they were actually doing really well in the early going, and they have, I think, I'm quite sure they have the greatest disparity of road versus home. Unfortunately, for their sake, they are on the road for this one. I have the road team over here. But Hartford there, you see 6-5 and 4 with 16 points, and again, a really poor road record versus technically still undefeated at home. Some of those games are on my channel where they emerge, they come back, and they are, they remain undefeated. They managed to at least tie. The LA Kings, on the other hand, so it's a good thing that Boston started winning, because Los Angeles, they were sort of more down at the bottom of the ladder or whatever with Washington and Quebec in the early going. They've managed to put some wins together. They beat the Montreal Canadiens, who are still in first overall, very decisively this year. 4 losses and 1 tie record. One of those 4 losses came by a losing score of 4-1 to the 75 Los Angeles Kings. So they are battling their way back into it. It has been a storyline recently that the Kings have emerged and are really kind of knocking on the door of getting into a playoff spot. And then finally, the Joey division here for Joey Moss, Mr. Edmonton Oiler. In first overall there, you can see the Montreal. The divisions, I have a video up actually, so you might wonder, well, why in Montreal? 1970, Henri Richard's on the team. Why is he not playing in the Henri Richard division? Good question. I do have a video up where I'm drawing the teams randomly from a hat, and I'm assigning them into divisions. And I do think, at least on paper, prior to this season campaign here, which is a 32-game season, so all of these teams having played about 16 games. One exception, Hartford has 15 and New York has 17. That's because of the Jeopardy champion thing that I talked about recently in the last game that I played of Mike Owens Quick Play Pro Hockey. Actually, no, the second last one, because I did that Jets-Hawks one to get to the halfway point of the schedule. But the Montreal Canadiens, they just came up randomly as, going to play in the Joey Moss division, so that's where they are playing. Both good at home and on the road are the Canadiens. Somewhat defensive games that they've been winning, I guess, with a differential of +13, but 55 goals for. That's lower than, well, a few other teams, everyone in the Howie division, and for that matter. So the Canadiens and the Chicago Blackhawks of 1983, they've fallen to 500. Actually, they're still hanging on to that 4th wild card position. 8 teams of 12 will qualify for the playoffs. I'll do a best of 7 in every round, and the quarterfinals, then semifinals, and then final. And the Chicago Blackhawks just hanging on to that final playoff spot, that WC4. And actually, I think that's where I should go from here. And Quebec 95, again, along with, I would say, the Sabres of 75 and the Rangers of 72, I would have actually pegged Quebec as being a favorite going into this, just to do really well and to get, qualify for the postseason with ease. I said this before, I think, in the quarterly report update, the quarter season update, but I think that this is proof of the Mike Owens normalization working. You wouldn't think that those 4 points Montreal played in what's considered to be a tougher season. This is the team that had 92 points in, I can't remember, it was a 78-game campaign. But anyway, 92 points. They would have been, I think, first or second. I want to say first, actually, in the West Division. Had they played in the West, but because they played in the East, they just missed the playoff spot, that being when the expansion was fresh. You had the expansion 6 and the original 6 in separate divisions. That's what led actually to the Chicago Blackhawks going over in, I think, 70 or 71 and playing in that West Division. But so Montreal was kind of a victim there of that format. But their normalization of 19 versus Quebec's of 15 really seems to be making a difference. But a lot of these teams, the normalization is just 16. So this is a bit of an anomaly. And again, 16 games, they still have time to turn it around. But if you look, the wild card 4, that is the Blackhawks. So they are 9 points right now out of a playoff spot with 16 games to go. With their -23 differential. So we'll get back to Quebec here. If the playoffs started today, I'm going to start doing this with every update. I do updates after every 12 games played with a 192-game schedule. So it just works out that after every 12, that's when I decide, those are the intervals I decide to do an update. This is already almost 10 minutes. So if the playoffs started today right now, as of this update, it would be in round 1, actually, division rivals. So division rivals may or may not play one another the way that I have this formatted. Montreal being the top division winner, the most points among all the division winners, and then the Blackhawks of 83 with the lowest number of points among the 4 wild card slots. So wild card 4 versus division winner 1, it'd be Chicago Blackhawks of 83 up against the Habs of 70. This would be a tough opening round match for both teams, really, I would think, actually. The 81 St. Louis Blues in the wild card 3 spot versus the division winner 2, that being the New York Rangers of 72. Again, Montreal's done better than I thought. Even as a Habs fan, I didn't figure that they were going to do this well. I knew they were up against some really tough opposition, but again, that normalization. Really that's the sort of the first thing that comes to mind when I think of why they might be doing better than expected. The third matchup there would actually be, again, division rivals. Actually, somehow all of these? Nope, not the fourth one. So these teams are both in the Henri Richard division, the Buffalo Sabres of 75. Somewhat surprisingly, again, in the wildcard 2 spot versus the Canucks in division winner 3. So this is a playoff series where normally I would favor the Buffalo Sabres, but I know that Vancouver in the regular season play so far has at least one decisive win over the Buffalo Sabres. And also, if Vancouver's at home, you never know. So it's why you play them. And then the Winnipeg Jets of 85 in the wildcard 1 spot to go up against the division winner 4 right now. Recently emerged, because it was Hartford for a while, the recently emerged Boston Bruins of 83. So this is the scoring race after the halfway point. Again, the Rangers, I guess they've benefited a little bit from having played that 17th game. You can see it's all New York 1, 2, 3, 4. But I don't know. I don't know if Federico will get 3 points in his next game. It's possible. It could happen. Vic Hadfield. This is really on the strength of a 5-point game that he had a couple of Rangers games ago, and I do have that one up on the channel. I think that's the one actually where they blew out the Blues, if I'm not mistaken. The Hadfield there had a 5-point night. I think I announced it incorrectly as being a hat trick, but whatever. He had like 2 goals and 5 points. Rattel, who did have a hat trick in that game, up to 16 goals in 17 games, is Rattel there with 22 points, just one in behind his line mate, and then one in behind their line mates. This is the gag line here, 1, 2, and 3, the goal of game line. So Rod Gilbert there with 9 goals and 21 points in 17 games. Brad Park, who actually had about as many goals as assists there for a little while. He's starting to put a few more assists up on the board now, setting up some other players with 20 points in 17 games there. Good offensive season for him so far halfway through it. Bernie Federico, as you can see there with 20 points. Bobby Rousseau, a bit of an anomaly. I think 58 points in 72 games that season in 1970 historically for the Montreal Canadiens. 19 points in just 16 games so far in this campaign. You're going to have a few anomalies, and that's another thing, actually. So I'm not comparing the players' performances in this to the history simply because they're playing teams like they're playing teams across history. They're not playing the same opponents that they would have had in real life in these seasons. So just because someone like Bobby Rousseau does something that's out of line with what Montreal did in 1970, well, okay, this is still actually a bit of an aberration, but you know what I mean? Like it's the same thing with the League of Champions and Presidents. Well, how come guys who got 150, 200 points can't do it at that rate in the League of Champions and Presidents? It's because they're up against the big three or Dennis Potvin or like just some of the greatest all-time defense. You know, Mark Howe and the Philadelphia Flyers and Brad McCrimmon and some of the just really good defensemen. So and good goaltending for that matter also. So it's difficult in these hypothetical situations for some of these guys to replicate history. You can't expect, I don't think you can expect to have the same results. Denis Savard there, 18 points in 16 games, decent for him, I'd say. Rene Robert did over that. This was Robert's kind of career year, I think, actually, with the Sabres in 75, if I'm not mistaken, playing on that French Connection line. Though a very solid offensive player and addition installment on that line for several seasons. Gilbert Perreault, this is also a bit strange. 18 points in 16 games, not so strange. 1 goal among them, a little strange. The setup man. For a little while there, I think he was almost doing what Gretzky did in like 85 or 86, where yeah, I think it would have been 80s. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Where he, competing to win the scoring title on assists alone is what I'm trying to say here. Don Luce, of course, this 12 goals is a little misleading because he had 4 goals in game 1. So he's had 8 goals in 15 games since then. He was about almost a half a goal per game player historically in that season. So he's it's tapered off somewhat for him. Wayne Babbage, 10 goals and 17 points in 16 games. And Cliff Ronning did have a good year offensively that season for the Canucks. Team scoring leaders, actually, I see this is already 15 minutes, so I'll try to go through this a little more quickly. There you have them right there. Robert, Perreault, Luce, Martin, and Dudley. And if you actually look, I mean, despite what I said about some things being out of line with history, if you look at who finished in the top 5 that season for these teams, you go to Hockey Reference and look them up. A lot of the same names, several of the same names, if not all 5. Maybe the order is slightly different, but although I do, Robert first overall that season? First place? Anyway, I'm trying to recall for Buffalo. He had a really good year in 75. For the Capitals, you have Hayworth. Gardner, I'd say his goals are down a little bit, but the points are there. Gustafson, Christian, and Lachlan there for the Washington Capitals. The 92 Canucks, and I actually noted here Bure, in case anyone was curious, 5 goals and 10 points. He had like 30 goals and 60 points thereabouts in a short and rookie campaign where he played about 65 games. So he had a good, solid rookie season offensively, but he wasn't quite Pavel Bure yet, if you know what I mean. So 5 goals and 10 points in 16 games. I mean, that's a little off, that's a little down, but he has actually picked it up. More recently, he was doing pretty terribly before that offensively. Getting into the Howie Meeker division, again, you have the gag line there, Brad Park, and then Walt Tkachuk with 16 points there, 3 goals and 13 assists. Bernie Federico leading St. Louis along with Babbage. Brian Sutter having a good year. Blake Dunlop, and I did look, he did have actually few goals and many assists among his offensively prolific year that year for the 81 St. Louis Blues, so this is kind of in line with history. He'd be a little higher up in it, though, in their top 5. And then Mike Suk there with 13 points. Laurie Boschman, offensively a bit of a positive surprise for the Jets. He and Howard Chuck are tied for points, but Boschman has 1 more goal. Howard Chuck there with 15 points in 16 games. A little down for him. I think this was the season that he had 130 points, but I don't know. The Jets are playing in a really tough division, and I mean, there is still time for him to explode and break out and have some pretty big games, so here's hoping that he does. Paul McLean and Thomas Steen, I thought kind of like Pavel Bure, a couple of offensively significant players in this, this season in history for the Jets, so I thought I'd note that they each also have 11 points, similar to Scott Arnold there for the Jets. And that is, wait a minute, I was going to say there should be a couple more there. Okay, so Dan Maloney for leading the Los Angeles Kings. Mike Murphy, I think, did historically for them. Maloney was up there, though. Frank Saint-Marseille, I guess, been a bit of a surprise. But with LA, actually, they're winning defensive games. They're winning low-scoring games, and they're in low-scoring games, so you can't expect as much offense from them. There's Butch Goring there. Not yet an Islander. And Rick Middleton, 13 goals against just 1 assist for his 14 points. Cy Young Award candidate there is Middleton. Peter McNabb having a pretty good season there. I liked somebody made a comment about he'd be the type to get a kick out of his cardboard exploits. I tend to agree. I kind of want to. Barry Peterson, I think 13 and 16 games, he and Bork, again, a little lower than average. But again, in 83, a lot of their opponents, a lot of their divisional and conference opponents would not have been quite as strong as these all-time very good teams. So, and then Tom Fergus there, fellow Cy Young candidate, I guess, with the 8 goals and 1 assist. And then we get down to the Hartford Whalers. Francis, 16 points in 16 games. Kevin Dineen, almost a point per game. Lawless, a bit of a surprise early on. He's cooled off since then. Ferraro's been picking it up. Anderson, again, kind of okay. And probably if I were doing an actual 1987 replay, I feel like somebody like Anderson or somebody like Barry Peterson, if I were replaying 83, they would probably have higher numbers in this than they do, given the fact that they're up against these other all-time very good teams that are some of them pretty defensively solid, like the 70 Montreal Canadiens, who've given up just 42 goals in 16 games. And again, a lot of these teams are from the 80s. They're high-scoring teams. Bobby Rousseau again. Jean Beliveau, almost a point per game. Again, this was a 38 Beliveau at the tail end of his career. Jacques Lemaire, another there are a few Cy Young candidates so far in this. Again, it's early, and it's a short season anyway. Mickey Redmond, 6 goals and 11 points. Cornway, down a little bit there, 8 goals and 2 assists. Denny Savard, already mentioned for Chicago. Secord there with 11 goals and 16 points. Larimer, a little below a point per game. Would expect him to pick it up. He's had some pretty good games, so he's just a couple of games, multiple points away. Doug Wilson has like 8 or 9 points in this, and Doug Crosman actually slightly ahead of him in terms of offensive defenseman. Again, over a full season, that could level out, and Wilson could pick it up. But this is just a 32-game campaign, so remains to be seen. Quebec's been somewhat disappointing. Sakic, like his second-rate Gilbert Perreault so far in this. Oh, I mean, just in terms of pure numbers. And Peter Forsberg there with 5 goals and 10 points. You would expect more from him. they just really, everybody in Quebec needs to pick it up. Like, if you look at the Quebec Nordiques and you think like, oh, that's not realistic. Look at their guys, you know, they're terrible. It's because they keep losing. It's difficult to put points on the board, even individually for the players, when you're losing game after game and getting blown out on some of them. So when I put here Nolan with the 4 goals and 6 points, and several other Nordiques players also have 6 points, but they don't have the 4 goals that Nolan has. So anyway, there you have it. I'm pretty sure, yeah, that is the full extent here of the update. Now, this is 20 minutes old, so I really got to hurry on this game here. The Boston Bruins up against the Hartford Whalers. The Bruins here can score from 15 to 53. Scoring chances actually will be arrived at with a roll of 32 or below. So let's grab the tower here and try to get right into this one. It is, and you saw actually where the Bruins are in the division and everything. So 54, I have the clock just off camera here. So 54, 2 minutes off the clock. Because again, we need 32 or lower. So 16, we're up to minute 5 in the first period here, and there will be a scoring chance. That scoring chance is going to 12. That's going to the Hartford Whalers. The Bruins 15 to 53. The Whalers, it's 11 to 14 and 54 to 66. And scoring the goal for the Hartford Whalers here, just past the 5-minute mark. It's going to be a 1-0 game for Hartford. Before I actually show the one, let's get... we'll get the exact time since I have these 2 dice in back. So that's going to be at 5:10. Scoring at 5:10 for the Hartford Whalers is 5:45, who is Paul McDermott. Paul McDermott, and assisting on the goal, just the 1 assist on McDermott's goal. 2:43 for that assist. That's Stu Gavin. So it's Paul McDermott from Stu Gavin here at 5:10 in the first period. It is a 1-0 Hartford game. And let's see here, 16. So in the 8th minute, we are going to have another scoring chance. That scoring chance is 22. That's going to go Boston's way, chance to tie. With a 6 and a 2, they actually managed to tie the game. So this could be a pretty high-scoring one. Remains to be seen. But at 8, let's get the exact time. At 8:16, so 3 minutes and 6 seconds later, I think. And that is 6:41 for Boston, 6:41. Scoring that goal is Craig McTavish. Craig McTavish assisting on McTavish's goal. There will be the 2 assists on his goal. And 3:62 for the first one means that Bruce Crowder will get the first assist on McTavish's goal. The second assist, whoops, 3:61, that's Bruce Crowder again. Sometimes these drop and roll really well, and other times not so much. It seems 3:22, that's Ray Bourque. So it is McTavish at 8:16 from Bruce Crowder and Ray Bourque. 1-1 game we play on. Okay, 64-2 coming off the clock. We're up to the 10-minute mark now of the first period. And at the 12-minute mark with that 13, we'll have another scoring chance. Another 13, so that's going to be Hartford Whalers' chance. And 2 and a 6, Hartford up 2-1 here. Okay, let's see here. Hartford making it interesting early at least. 12, so that's going to be at 12:50. At 12:50, the Hartford Whalers here going ahead 2-1, scoring for the Whalers this time. 5:26 is Paul Lawless. Paul Lawless, and I was talking about him having cooled off. There will be a pair of assists on Lawless's goal. 2:45 for the first one. That's going to be Dave Babbage. So Lawless from Babbage. And 3:24 is Ulf Samuelsson. Lawless from the defenseman, Babbage and Ulf Samuelsson here at 12:50 of the first period. And your score is 2-1 for the Hartford Whalers of 1987. Okay, 34, so up to the 14-minute mark with no chance. And with a 32, we'll have a chance here in minute 15. And 15, so that's going to be Boston's chance, just barely. Boston with a 3 and a 2. It's a 2-2 hockey game here into the 16th minute. Technically, it'll read, okay, that one came out of the tray there. But you know what? This is just for time. I'm going to say here at 15:54, Boston ties the game at 2, scoring the goal for the Boston Bruins. 3:56 is Bruce Crowder with his second point. And assisting on Crowder's goal, 4 and a 6, just the 1 assist. And that 1 assist, 6:52, is Terry O'Reilly. Bruce Crowder from Terry O'Reilly here at, I think I said 15:54 of the first period. And it's a 2-2 hockey game. Trying to hurry my way through this one, okay. So there, that is 42, so another minute comes off the clock. And 41, we actually stay there in that minute. Let's see here, 33, we're up to minute 18 of the first period. And another 33, so we're into the first minute of the second period now. Again, we need 32 or below here to get a chance. I'm going to double check on that. I'd hate to have gotten that wrong so far. So 26, we're going to advance 3 more minutes. So we're at just past 3 minutes of the second period. There will be a chance. And that chance is going to 55. That's going to be actually to the Whalers. Whalers with a 2 and a 6, so it is a 3-2 game here for Hartford. Again, they're poor on the road, but they're not so poor on this channel. They're pretty good on this channel, actually, when they play on it. That's going to be at 3:55 here into the second period. The Whalers going up 3-2. Scoring that goal for the Whalers at 3:55 is 5:33. Who is Paul Lawless with his second of the contest. Shame on me for saying he had cooled off. And 4 and 3, there are a pair of assists on the goal. And 3:24 for the first assist. It's going to be Lawless from Samuelson picking up his second helper of the night. And I think I did say 2 assists in the goal. If not, I'm feeling generous anyway, but not so generous to award Samuelson a pair of them. So 6:63, so it's going to be Samuelson and either Scott Kleinendorst or Sylvain Cote. It'll be Kleinendorst's assist. So it's, goodness, Lawless from Samuelson and Kleinendorst here at 3:55 of period 2. Yes, I am trying to hurry so I can get this one in. 26 once more, so actually at the 6-minute mark here in the second period. And this chance, 22, that's going Boston's way. Whoops, I should show the 3-2 Hartford score there while they still have it. It could be a fleeting one. And 6 and 1, so Boston actually doesn't score on that. I think that's the first unsuccessful chance so far. Kind of echoing a game I played with Blue Zone last night. Into the 7th minute, we will have another chance. 63, that chance is going Hartford's way. And with a 4 and a 5, they don't actually score on it. So we play on here. 22, so in the 8th minute, we'll have another chance. With a 21, that chance is Boston's. And with a 1 and a 5, Boston doesn't score on it either. Okay, 63, so we're up to the halfway point now of the game without a chance. 53, so we're into minute 12 now without a chance. And 15, so up to minute 15. And there will be a scoring chance here in this minute. 65, once again, Hartford. Hartford with a 6 and 1. They're unable to, put themselves 2 goals ahead of Boston. 35, so now we're up to minute 18 now without a scoring chance. And 66, so we're now into the first minute and then some change into the third period. And no chance so far. 15, so here in minute 4 of period 3, or 4 minutes and something, there will be a chance. 13, that's going to be Hartford's again. Hartford with a 5 and a 4, they don't score on it. So a narrow 3-2 lead they're hanging on to here. Into minute 5 now, 5 minutes and some change in the third period. 32, so here in 6 minutes and something, I have to figure out a different way to say that. There will be a chance. And that chance, let's see here, that's 2 and a 5. That's going to be Boston's. Boston with a 3 and a 6. They don't score on it. Okay, let's see here, 4 and 2. That's going to be in the 7-minute mark of the third period. And we advance up to 9 minutes. There will be a chance here. Okay, 13. That once again is Hartford's chance. Hartford with a 1 and a 2 here in the third period. In a 1-goal game with a higher close game factor by 2, so they can roll. Let me double check here in the exact specifics of the roll. If this next roll is 11 to 43, it means it's a 4-2 Hartford game. 54, so Hartford does not score there with the close game factor, so it is still just a 3-2 hockey game. Okay, 2 and 5, so 25 rather. So that we're in the 12th minute here of period 3. There is going to be a chance in this minute. 54, ooh, Boston's 15 to 53. 54, it's Hartford's again. 6 and 6, Hartford. Once again, I have to check here for a roll of 43 or 63. So again, Hartford, 2 chances to really put some insurance on the board, and they failed to do it. 12 will have a chance here in minute 13 of period 3. This time 62. Once again, Hartford's. What is wrong with Boston in this game? 6 and 5. This is the 3rd time now I have to check the close game factor. They need 43 or below here. They finally get it with the 33. So it's going to be a 4-2 game here for the Hartford Whalers, scoring that goal for Hartford. The exact time of the goal. Again, oh goodness, so 13 minutes exactly, actually. I hope I didn't bump that pawn to the wrong minute there. 5:42, Hartford scoring there, and at 5:42, that's going to be either Lawless or McDermott. 4, that's going to be Lawless. I think that's a hat-trick for Paul Lawless, a hat-trick for Paul Lawless here. Shut me up good. So 2:45, that is going to be Lawless from Dave Babbitt. And at 5:51, that is either, or well, actually, I'm going to say McDermott. They're both 5:51s there. I'm going to say McDermott there. So Paul from Dave and Paul here at 13 minutes exactly into period 3. Finally, 4-2 Hartford. 3rd time's the charm there for Hartford in the close game factor. 26 will have an opportunity here in the 16th minute. And I really got to hurry on this one. 36, that's going to be Boston's here. Chance to get back to within 1. Boston with a 2 and the 3. They do get back to within 1. So it's a 4-3. Game now. Let's get the exact time here. 16 minutes and 48 seconds, and scoring that goal for the Boston Bruins. Let's see, 5:42 for Boston, either Milbury or Tom Fergus. That's going to be Mike Milbury, actually. So Mad Mike getting the goal there, getting Boston back to within 1. I'm going to say 2 assists on the goal there with that roll of 2 and 3. I didn't have to drop all 3 dice, sorry. It's going to be Mike Milbury from Barry Peterson and Milbury from Peterson. And 356 is Bruce Crowder with his 2nd or 3rd assist of the night. So Milbury from Peterson and Crawford here at 16:48 of the 3rd period. And let's see, we're going to stay in that minute, of course, because I'm running out of time. Just my luck. 64, that'll be the Whalers' chance. And with a 1 and a 1, actually, the Whalers... Plus game factor roll. They can roll a save into a goal, can the Whalers. And actually, come to think of it, that one that I rolled the 11 on, that was automatically a goal for the Whalers. Sorry, I did make a mistake there. So I am glad that actually they did go up 4-2 on that goal with that roll of 11. I hope I didn't do that with any others. If I did so, it would be a mistake. Anyway, with a 4 and a 1 here, that does mean that the Whalers once again have scored. Okay, I paused to save time. That's Quenville from Dana Merson and Dave Babbage here. And it's 16:40, and I know they scored a goal at 16:48. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say that this one was at 16:48, and they scored 2 goals in 8 seconds. And let's see, with the 21, of course, we stay in the same minute. Just my luck. Whoops, what am I even trying to do here? Okay, 42, that'll be Boston's chance this time, though. Boston with a 2 and a 3, they score, they get back to within 1. The camera could actually crap out at any point, but this is now a 5-4 hockey game here. Actually, if Hartford was up... Anyway, I'll have to go back to this one. If I've made mistakes in this one, it's because I am in a hurry. I'm trying to make this video not too long. So here at the... Goodness, at 40. I'm going to have to sort this out here. In the 16th minute, apparently, we get a trio of goals. Sometimes, though not often, this will happen with this game. 2:34. Mike Krushelnyski scoring there for Boston, assisting on Krushelnyski's goal. 2 assists on Krushelnyski's goal. And the first one, 5:26, that is... Whoops, sorry. That is Mike Milbury with his 2nd point of the night. And 366 is either Bruce Crowder or Keith Crowder. Let's see which Crowder. It's going to be Bruce Crowder again. I want to say he's like 4 points now. So anyway, that can happen sometimes here. Let's see. Let's roll. Okay, 35. So we get in a minute 19 now. And actually, let's see if Boston will pull the goalie. No, they won't. Let's see if we can roll just past. Yeah, okay, so 32. You know what? I'll allow one more scoring chance. 32. 63, that's going to be Hartford's anyway. Maybe a chance to pot an empty netter here. With a 1 and a 6, I believe. Yeah, that's an empty net goal for Hartford. So 6-4. Let's see here. 6-4. We'll get the goal score, and then we'll go for the exact time. I'll do things a little differently here. 5:62 is Mike McEwen with that goal there. Former Islanders defenseman Mike McEwen. There will be a pair of assists on McEwen's goal. The first one, 6:23, is Randy Ladaker, McEwen from Ladaker. And 2:21 is Kevin Dineen, McEwen from Ladaker, and Kevin Dineen. The exact time the goal was scored is 23 at 19:23. Let's see if we can roll it in past the final horn here. Yes, we can. So 6-4 Hartford. Let me actually put it up there. 6-4 Hartford, if the camera will even capture this past 32 minutes, is your final score anyway. I really got to get going on this one and on my day in general. So cheers, thanks, and bye for now.